Hello, hello,
Hello,
Isaiah.
Gary. You hear me?
I can hear you
Perfect.
perfectly. How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been a crazy week, and since we talked last,
Yeah.
and I have been going through a whole bunch of metamorphoses or changes myself. The
Yeah.
way that I perceive, um, more so, it's funny because they're all things that I had already seen or thought of and planned, but it's like, oh, now it's time to do it, and slightly different version of how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I think one thing I would like to say is the astrology with can't even think of his name. The astrology guy.
Chris, yeah,
Chris.
Chris.
The insight going into the week, knowing that it was gonna be intergalactic, transformative, da 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 da. That was very important for awareness wise because it like helped me to like ride the wave through it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that is a big deal. Um, I was saying yesterday is that like for example, I've used his app, part of the development of that over 7 years, and it because it gave me information. um, I wasn't surprised when it came up. That surprise is actually what causes the aging process.
Mm.
Hold on 1 second. I got something going on with my glasses. I had a set of spectacles. They were actually, the blades were pushing it to be too tight on my face, and when that happens, either that or my face got wider. We'll see. Oh damn, my face got wider. It's not the blades.
You're growing.
Oh,
Your head's growing.
my head grew. That's freaking weird. It's like to the point that glasses are slightly uncomfortable on my head. I thought I changed my blades, and I'm like, oh damn, these new blades are too tight. So I went back to the old ones. I'm like, oh, those are too tight too.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's weird.
So
I
what? So
mean, like,
describe the difference. So what? It's
well,
like
just
uncomfortable here.
slightly tight. So that means that
Uh,
I've had a slight increase in width here. Means
yeah.
that like that means a lot of fascial restrictions. You've been watching my face change a lot
Yeah.
week over week.
Yeah.
So the area through here, my jaw, like you can see that used to have a deep smile lines a couple months ago. There's almost going away. So
Yeah.
the area here lightened up. So it pushed my face back. So it pushed my jaw back. So my head came out slightly. That's all happened. I mean, this has all happened in the last like 1 to 2 weeks. I've been like radically shifting to the point that I stopped measuring the shift, because it was like before I could like, well, over a month or over a couple weeks. Now it's like there's something happening every day, and I'm like, I don't even know where to start sometimes.
Yeah. So would you say over the weekend or over this, you know what I mean, the last time I spoke to you to now, what has been the greatest realization or change in your awareness based on before?
I think, I mean, there's a couple things. I said last week coming up to the weekend that there's going to be, I didn't expect that. So one of the things is, my commitment to the world was to make the basic understanding of how our body works, and to heal ourselves free of charge. And we've done that. And and now it's people going through different progressions in it, different ways to see it, different coaches, and that's all building all over the world. But then the next part, hi Missy. The next part was, what do I do um, going forward? Like for example, this last year, I realized we're with 20 million people around the world doing this.
Mhm.
So I realized that even if I completely disappeared, I never showed up again. Um, and the mission that I came here, the reason I came to this planet, or the primary reason I thought at least,
Yeah.
is fulfilled. It's happening. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's in
viral. It's
action and it's
happening.
happening. It's almost like the box is being checked and it's yeah.
Yeah. So what that did to me is it let go of, and this is the realization that was this year. I mean, I could feel it. I sensed it last year, but this year I could go, no, no. I can visually see that it's happening. I can say it's all these languages, it's all over the world, it's in all these different groups. So I could actually visually say and reconcile that it's happening. So then what's the next part? The one part that we did is we put out the fascial maneuvers and we slightly geared people to help them believe to see what we believe. So, but we've never written a book about about how this works. So I haven't put a stamp down on the belief system. And part of it was because, what happens after all the releases? Like right now I'm shifting, so I'm going into performance. And I always wanted to do performance, but you can't start working on performance until you get rid of the old crowd.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
this is also why we put out personal maneuvers first, not partnered or practitioner, because if you don't take care of it yourself and you go to a practitioner to get them to take care of it, there's no way that you'll come to a healing point in your body. You'll always be dependent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, for example, I had this epiphany that it's like it's time to write the book. In other words, what I believe about fascia in the body, because I'm talking to people about the body all the time. But if you believe that muscles are determine health in the body, if you believe that muscles move the body, and if you believe that brain moves the body and the muscles, right from there we split. After there, every conversation can have some relationship to each other, but that's flat Earth, round Earth. Actually, that's flat Earth. Realm, no Earth at all. That's where the conversation goes in my mind. And so I have a lot of conversations with people every day about what I believe about the body, but I help them and I help them help themselves, but they still really don't know why it's working.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. This just shows me like the universal attunement. So before I like set my phone up on this thing, I put it on a book. So it's like on a book on a stand. And I was like, I wonder if Garry would write. I wonder where Garry's book in this. Like literally, and then I went and grabbed my favorite book like right next to me and put it like so. And I was like, I wonder if he's writing a book. And then I was like, I'm gonna ask him. And then you literally said, as one of the first things that you just
Okay,
said.
there's another confirmation. So we have a guide which behind it we dumbed it right down to hand there movement just
Yeah.
to get it out so people had something to and
Tangibly
now we're
agree.
going to take the next part which talks a little bit more about the philosophy, but that still doesn't fully articulate my belief system. Like what I really believe about the human body. Um like like things like viruses,
Yeah.
how they
Yeah.
interact with us, why they're there. Um, Parasites, what's the activity? What is a human? We're only 10% of us as human cells. So only 10% of our cells are human cells. So what are the other 90%? And how does it all work? Um, Past lives or other lives, other states of awareness. How does it play into this life? Like, yeah, we know we can go to psychics and astrologers and all that and they can tell you about them, but how does it physically land in the body? Like,
Yeah.
what's the mechanism that makes it work? And I talked to Chris
Yeah.
about that yesterday. I said, well, how is it that when I saw a coffin at 5 years old, I freaked out when I had no idea what a coffin was. And like something
Something triggers
somewhere.
something into our current reality, no matter whether, where, how our recall or remembering is.
Yeah. And my thing was is like, how does it work? So so I've been developing theories about how it works, which are now you're using them without really knowing what's behind it. Like, why
Yeah.
does this work? And
Yeah.
physically, but then why does it work emotionally? But then why does it adjust your perception? Then what is your perception? And how does your perception play into it? And what is the use of perception? How does your body, why is your perception different? Like, why can I be caught in my body? How can I see things from a third party? Where am I? So all of those things. So what I'm going to do is, I don't like the idea of writing a book. As soon as you write it, it's
It's
outdated.
already changed. Yeah.
So what I'm going going to do is I'm going to do a 12-month series once a month, and where I'm going to share openly all of my beliefs. I'm going to move my body in an advanced way, performance. I'm going to move into the performance side of fascia. And because I can't hold it back forever.
Yeah.
And because I do fascia moves differently than everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
a different result in my body.
Yeah.
So, but I did them the way you're all doing them right now. I did them for a period of time. So I'm going to roll that out, show the advanced part of it. I'm going to have the discussion about what the body, how I believe the body's constructed. Like we have 50 trillion cells, 1.4 volts of power with a positive negative charge inside of each cell. So 1.4 volts, which is measurable on standard equipment. It means that we have 70 trillion volts of electricity. So 70 trillion volts of electricity is equivalent to a lightning bolt. So why do we not act like lightning? Why can't I move at the speed of light? Why can't I charge things in this? Well, we can. We got little bits of it. Like you move along and then you go touch somebody and it goes shock.
Yeah.
Well, that's lightning, right?
Just the different. I see what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
So it is. It's
Yeah.
lightning, but why can't I do that on command? Why can't I just go to you? What is it? What is the reason why that's not there? And then how do emotions play to it? And how do the emotions play to perceptions? Because the biggest problem that people have with their health today is their emotional dysregulation. And why are their emotions dysregulated? And then furthermore is how their beliefs affect their perception. So those are all the things that I've been using to change my life and my body and now perform a different way. So that's what I'm going to be doing out over 12 months. I'm going to do a 12-month 90-minute segments once per month so people can integrate the concepts. And it's going to be a book in flow where people, in a group, they're going to get access to a private group. And that's where I'm going to spend my time communicating. Because me answering questions about, with all respect, how to fix your shoulder and how to get rid of your Lyme disease and all that. I mean, I've already written all that stuff. Like, you don't need me to do that anymore.
Yeah. It's I know what you're saying. It's like you want to actually pour in to give people the toolbox to take it and run with it. It's up to you now. Like, here's the whole box. Here's the tools. You want to build a house, you want to build a whatever, like, you know what I mean? Build yourself back knowing that, look at my results. Look at, I've shown you this entire process. Look, I'm the living, breathing example of all these changes, all these detoxes, all these different changes, and this is what I've done, and this is the theories and beliefs that I practiced, and it's up to you.
Yeah, like what do I do on a daily basis? Why do I do it?
Yeah.
Like why do I use essential oils and why do I do it the way I do it? Why do I eat or diet or fast the way I fast and what's the purpose of it? Like why is it that I've been purposely getting rid of all my muscle? I mean, what is all of this stuff that now looks like muscle?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
How does it work?
It's you're continuing to refine and break down all of these things into, like, the thing I appreciate the most about you is you find a way to make it simple but also have it like connected to the greatest thing. So like you're talking like massive scale, but then it's also like very applicable and very tangible at all times. So I have the big vision, and I also have the relevance of this emotion, gallbladder, meridian line 12. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, okay. Now it's like, it's the puzzle, but I see the whole picture. So you do a good job.
Here, I'll give you one piece. Give me a second here. So, because there's way more into this. So let's go here to Drive. So what happens is, pull this up here. So what was your realizations over the weekend, by the way?
My realizations were a reimagined community. So like processing the past experiences of inner community and the traumas that everybody has within them, and basically like, what is your contribution and role within certain things. And then also the awareness to say, if you operate and choose to be honest and authentic and be upfront, you're going to be okay. But if you try to like have past experiences like lingering, eventually they have to come out. Eventually that trauma has to be re-expressed. So it was really just the awareness of past things, past emotions, past patterns, and how it's a choice to be aware and do something new. But to do something new, you have to like be calm enough to not react, but to like observe it. Okay, this is happening again.
Right.
This is
Right.
I have a
So what was the aha moment for you?
um just how it's not the event or the reaction. So an argument, it's not the argument, it's the little things that didn't feel heard. I didn't like if
I'm
somebody else
listening. I'm
doesn't
listening. Keep talking.
if I didn't feel heard and you didn't feel heard, well, it's the same root problem. So now it's just manifesting in different ways. So one person is, you're not talking to me kindly. The other person is, I don't feel heard. It's the same root energy,
Right.
not being heard. But
Right.
it's just, it expresses differently based on our own experiences and our own traumas.
Right. Right. It's been an interesting journey. Like this, especially this lasted a while. I'm pulling this up here. Of course, when I'm thinking the reason why uh, okay. Of course, when I wanted to bring it up. So one of the things that I was saying earlier is I wanted to figure out, like why, like how did something like how did I that coffin? How did I freak out about that coffin at 5 years old? I didn't know what it was, or a st- or a steak. Um, how is it that all of these things, like if you see a snake and I see a snake, I had this fear of them right from young, like where did it come from? So one of these things was for me to get from like a way to get why things happen. Like, how do they get into this reality? So this was understanding what governs the reaction of the human body happens when it's remembered through the viewpoint of its past lives. In understanding the past lives of a person, we can understand how the body behaves in the environment today. Like I had to understand, like, why is it that I'm so freaked out by this past life or this other life? I don't. Past is represents time, but another state of awareness, right? Yeah. The human body is a collection of experiences of the soul through many lifetimes, each lifetime carrying memories of emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions into the current lifetime, expressing itself moment by moment or in real time. So basically, we have all these things, these programs that we come in, these experiences, and we come into this world with all those experiences, and we bond with our mother through the birth process. And then as we get out in our first 30 years of Saturn return, is we have versions of those experiences to upgrade us, to boot us into the reality, so that's what the Saturn return is, to give us the boot, to load the program. So if I if I got killed in another life and stabbed in the back, I just get a pain in the back this life.
Yeah, yeah.
So then the human life is not measured through time, but expressed through the experiences in which time passes through it. For example, time is if I was to ask you, well, here, time is the thread that passes through the lives of the soul and then is perceived through those experiences. So we don't measure time in the way that we think we measure time. It's not like linear, like
Yeah.
our brain doesn't even understand time, really.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, do you remember the first time you kissed a girl?
No.
The first time you ate ice cream?
Nope.
The first time that you got in a fight?
The first time I got in a fight, maybe pieces of it, but it might not be the first one. It might be the first one I can recall as a
Okay,
fight.
sure. Okay, so go back to that one. Was it day or night?
It was night.
Was it with a male or female?
Um, Male.
Okay. Um,
But what I can see is happening too, though, is I'm just filling with what like, what is available. So
well,
I just remember
that's
being
my
tired.
point. When was it though? When was it?
I just remember being in like third grade, being super tired. We stayed up all
So,
night, and then the next day was
yeah.
terrible. That's all I
So
remember.
third grade. So how old were you?
7, 8.
So now you can take your time now, how many years you are now, and you can go back to the third grade, 7 or 8, and you develop time. So it's the experience that pulls you back, and then you use an external measurement source to try to understand or
Perspective.
rebuild time.
Yeah.
So time is a thread that passes through the lives of the soul and then is perceived through those experiences. Time is created so the soul is able to experience, and the soul is an extension of Creator, God. Therefore, God experiences emotions, thoughts, and beliefs as perceptions, and perceptions as a thread that weaves through the lives of the soul. So in other words, the tree doesn't know what the leaf is doing, but feels the leaf blowing. So the Creator gets the feelings, because where the Creator is, there is no sadness, joy, there is no love or
Yeah.
anger or fear. It's everything and nothing at the same time. So the Creator, as an extension of the Creator, we're having this experience. The Creator gets to feel the experience through us, like a voyeur. So what I'm saying is God's a voyeur.
Yeah.
Um, we are not a body that has a soul, but rather a soul that's not has a body. That was what the Buddha said. Having a body. Has is possessive.
Yeah.
Experiencing a body is another way of saying it. A soul incarnates in this world to experience. Experience is derived through contrast. Without contrast, experience can't be felt or recognized. Contrast requires a push and a pull, which can be seen in the breath of a human. As we breathe, we use hormonal muscular energy with adrenaline to expand our chest against the forces of atmospheric pressure and gravity, while simultaneously drawing air into our lungs when the vacuum. This contrasted action creates the exchange of air from the outside of the body to the inside of the body. And that contrast creates the production of electricity, which powers our ability to live in this world.
And it's interesting too because it goes back to the electricity thing. Because when I think about it, ATP, which is produced in our mitochondria, which is charged through respiration. So we're using energy to create a charge, but we don't need the energy to create a charge. We already are the
Yeah. So
charge.
what causes the charge? There. I mean, this is one of the things I want to share with people. Like, what is it? How does that electricity? We know we have electricity,
Yeah.
but we have this biological map of the body that's all hormonally driven,
Yeah.
and it's like we don't explain how the electricity got there. That's just like in life. We use electricity all the time, but we have no idea how it's actually made
Yeah.
scientifically.
Yeah.
Where everybody, oh, it's electricity, but we can create it, but we don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
So science can't explain electricity. I mean, you think about that. So
Yeah.
what creates the electricity in our system? Well, I'll tell you, we know this. We know that the fascia is piezoelectric. So you create compression and movement, it creates electric charge. Now we may not still understand electricity, but we know that we can create it through piezoelectric, through movement. So we know that if you put compression on the fascia, it creates electricity. And specifically, the bones, when they touch, they create a spark. That's why when you walk off a curb and you misjudge it, you go poof, and the
Uh,
whole thing,
oh
like
yeah.
a TENS
It's like a
unit on the
misfire.
one
It's like a
side.
misfire. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, if you put a TENS unit on the one side, when you go off a curb, all your bones touch because they weren't expecting it. Your
The
structure, your
impacts. It's
fascia
like a yeah.
weakens.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
foot goes like that. The bones touch, and it shocks the whole system to protect you.
Yeah.
So the only bones that touch in your body are the rib cage, the teeth, and the ears.
Yeah.
So that means that, and this is back to where we're going to start off or finish this conversation and start with you,
Yeah.
is that since the only bones that really touch are here, here, and here, when I breathe,
Yeah.
spark, spark. That's why it's the exhale. That's the release of energy, of hormonal energy,
Yeah.
to with the release, exchange spark. Hormones spark. Hormones, spark. Hormones, spark.
Yeah.
That's our bioelectric field. That's how our body works.
Yeah. And now that you're breaking it down like this, the first thing I thought of is, what is inspiration? It's like a spark, and they say to breathe upon something. It's like to give God, like to breathe upon it. So it's exhaling. Like it's like a spark. It's literally, if you're inspired, you're like, oh my gosh, like
But inspiration comes after perspiration. So basically, it builds to attention, and then we get an inspiration.
yeah,
So that's why it follows our breath. We breathe. That's why the release of the breath
is the
creates
most
the
important part.
electricity, and
Yeah.
that electricity is the spark. And the clearer your fascia is, the more aligned your crystal is, the clearer your fascia, the more that spark radiates through your body to all the different areas connecting it. The more heavy metals you have in your fascia, the more
It
that spark
blocks.
goes ping, 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 and doesn't get there properly.
And this makes so much sense, because what I've witnessed is people don't have a problem inhaling, they have a problem exhaling, which is the releasing of the charge. So like people have the charge, but now because they don't release it, it's like it's now has to
Well, they
find a
have
way
the
to attack itself.
tension. They have the human part is they have the tension. They want to hold on to it. The hormone. I
It
don't
wants
want the
to
answer. I don't want the
live.
answer. I want to, because my belief is I'm not worthy. I want to be in pain still. I don't want to let go of all the fear, anger, and doubt. I don't want to let go of the narrative. So and then when I go,
Yeah.
well, the answer can come because when I release, serotonin comes up, which allows me to see the connections. If I never release, I stay in the adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol, which
Yeah.
means that I don't see the answer. The answer is limited. I don't see the connections.
This is deep. This is deep, but so simple. Because literally, that's like everything you was just said. I would just say people don't exhale. They don't let go. They don't let themselves express whatever they're feeling. So now that feeling just continues to compound or
Well, that's
build up.
because
Crazy.
if they express it, if they exhale, that's why people, like you said, they hold their breath and they never really, they just breathe shallowly so that they never really get the full, the charge. Then you get them to do a breath work and then they go, whoa, wait a second here. I feel so much different. I feel alive. And they're like, I don't believe I feel alive. Why? Well, there is a mechanical reason for that, which we leverage in the fascial maneuvers. That's the principle.
Yeah.
Asthma is not the problem with exhaling. Actually, just to think about that, asthma itself is asthma is a symptom of holding on to something, and that's grief.
Yeah, because your
Asthma is
lungs.
holding on
Yeah.
to grief.
Yeah.
Because the great,
And
but
think
you're right.
about what an inhaler does. An inhaler is
Technically, you don't let it go.
yeah. Well, an inhaler they don't. It's not ever.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
then they think asthma attack comes from.
So
Yeah.
here's the dichotomy. If you were to, your CO2 goes up.
Yeah.
So if you have asthma, you're better to exhale than inhale. Because
Yeah.
if you exhale,
It
your
automatically.
CO2 goes up and your stress goes down. It's called the Bohr effect. But what we do is give you an inhaler that then stimulates you, and that stimulation is what holds the body from the exhale. So you stay in the adrenaline. It's like an
And this.
EpiPen.
Yeah. And it just made me realize I've never seen somebody with asthma like kick their asthma, like, or like get rid of their inhaler, because it's like that would be like, this is now like the crutch, or this is now the medicine that is, oh, I got to get it fit. So it's just,
If
and I've
somebody has
never thought
asthma,
about it.
you can give them a exhaler,
Yeah.
a frequent, like the ones that they use for trainer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and have them blow into it or blow into a pressure device, blow into their hand.
Yeah.
Do that 20 times a day. You're not going to have asthma for good. And well, the other part of it too is you need to get the minerals to clear out the lungs because it's all chemicals at the end. But
Yeah. Well, so you're creating, it's the synthetic version. How can we give you something that stimulates this thing that your body already naturally produces?
yeah,
That,
yeah.
wow.
So this is why when you're doing breath work, it's so important. You know, like what you do is part of it is you're breathing in and then you're exhaling, and you have a lot of focus on the exhale. I noticed that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because
Yeah,
that's what I
Joseph,
realized is
somebody said Joseph Pilates created a blowing device. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, by the way, there's lots of devices that are out there. It's just that they use it for like a performance. And they say, well, I'm going to use this to perform as a performance side, but I'm not going to use that performance side to let my body heal. I got to go over here to get a healing device, but I don't even see that if I'm performing, I have to heal. That's the whole point.
why do you think we've had to externalize these things as tools to make us better? Like, why do you think humans have, because that's the evolution of, like,
Why
why does it
we
require?
use it? Why do you use a tool anyways? It's because at some point we're not strong enough. Why do we're not strong enough? Because we either don't because we don't practice it. And what does practice do? It creates belief in our ability to do it. What is
I
it?
see what you're saying.
A tool amplifies the power or the intention, sorry, the intention of the user.
Yeah. It goes back, even this made me, the first thing I thought of is, why do people think that they need to use a PMF mat when they could just go ground themselves on the earth? Like, equal, either they're both great, but the earth has the magnetism. So if you just every day spend time feet on the earth, on the ground, on the earth, it's, you know what I mean?
PMF devices I've used a lot, and so there's a journey that people go through when you're really dehydrated, really compressed, really constricted, have lots of hormonal issues and stuff like that. A PMF device does you really good.
Yeah.
As soon as your fascia starts opening up and your nerve system calms down, a PMF device throws you into shock. Yeah, like if I used a PMF device right now, I'd be the next 3 hours unwinding from it. So again, and you're right. Why don't do we just go into nature? Because we've been taught that we need a machine or something to do it. And the other part too is that we become so numb to our medicine. Like it's the same thing as like if I get so constricted right now, people are so constricted, so dehydrated. They're so dehydrated that the books in medicine and anatomy and health are saying we're 60 to 65% water. That's a 10% difference
Difference.
in what we said 20 years ago for as long as we could measure it to 10 years ago, we're now 65% water or 60%
I
water.
see what you're saying. We just keep lowering the threshold because it fits what is happening in the world. Whereas if it stays at 70 to 80, first time I ever heard was 70 to 80. That was the first one number I heard. And then
It
I was like,
is 70% minimum. So, and by the way, somebody asked about the Nano V machine. I want to clear this up because the only machine that I use for anything, two machines, Alka Viva and Nano V. And the reason why I do that is that, and can I drink polluted water? Yeah, I'll be okay. I mean, I'll handle it a lot better than somebody else who doesn't.
have,
I'll notice the contrast.
yeah,
But I have more capacity to take that stressor. But I choose not to. I choose to drink because that's the way it was in nature. And Nano B, yeah, I used to breathe air that used to be like from a waterfall, like from a jungle, but all that air is now polluted and chemicalized, and the houses we live in have chemicals. We heat the house, and then the chemicals start to bake in the house that we're in. So we're no longer in environments where our water this way and breathing
yeah,
is pure.
yeah,
So yeah, like I use an NOV, especially when I'm here, but when I'm up in the mountains and in the mountain air and I'm by the waterfall, I tend to not use it. I tend to use it more when I'm around chemical
yeah.
environments. So the
It's
idea
like,
is somebody asked if I will ever not need it. And I'm like, yeah, there'll be a time when when human beings get it right and we get rid of all the chemicals in our world, and that's coming.
yeah.
And when we do that, planet Earth will heal. And when it does, we'll be in a better spot. And that's when I can stop, using the pollutants, sorry, filtering out the
Yeah.
pollutants.
Yeah. It's the way I see it. It's you're basically priming your body to be better, have a greater capacity. Obviously, your body can handle, like, right now. If that's why Wim Hof proved you can inject somebody with a lethal thing and he can still filter it out and he'll be
You
good.
know,
You know,
Luc Monteur, maybe I said it's Monteau or Monteur, the Nobel Peace winning virologist.
Mhm.
During the 80s, he was injecting himself with blood from a AIDS patient, proving that that it doesn't happen through transmission. When the latest version of stuff came around, he also stood up and said, "This is not true." And and when we get to the point that we understand that the stories we've been told about how our bodies work are the reason why we're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because belief is more powerful in our human experience and our health than any other mechanism, any other thing that you're doing. And the reason why a lot of the things that you're doing work is because you believe they
Yeah.
work. And you don't
Yeah.
believe they work, it doesn't matter how good it is.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part when you start on a new journey, because you're like in that like, okay, this is working, but like not how is this working, but you start to like, okay, let's just keep testing it. Let's keep showing. Like the first time that you started doing everything that you're doing, you're like, wow, well, this is profound. And then you start like, okay, this is working. I believe in it. Like people are showing me they believe in it. They're telling me about it. Now it's like it's a difference to like put on a hat and wear it and say like, look at my hat, versus like, no, this is like a permanent hat. I believe like I'm like it's not gonna leave. You know what I mean? Like it's not something I can take on and off. So it's interesting.
Yeah, so this is why we're having this conversation today, because we're in the third dimension where three beams of light connect so that we can visually, optically see or process information.
Yeah.
And the third dimension is the number three, which is belief. It's also the planet Jupiter. It also represents the color blue and the throat, which is
Oh,
the sign of Sagittarius.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I speak.
So belief is the most powerful thing. But if I don't believe, I take a step, like I drink good water, my body starts to heal. I do some fascia maneuvers, my body heals some more. I get better, I get rid of the chemicals in my diet, I have more. And then eventually I get to a point where, okay, I realize that all of that stuff wasn't the issue. The issue was the emotions that I was storing. And that's where people are coming to right now. There's certain people that I know that I've been following and looking to for all these years, and they're great leaders in thought and in consciousness and stuff like that, but they're now sick in their bodies. And it doesn't make sense that if we're this spiritual being with all that this body is meant to heal itself, if somebody is not okay in the body, then there's some lesson that they're still not there, because we are energy first and we're a body second. So
Yeah.
the body is a reflection of a lesson or an energy. It's something that's not realized. And I know, let's see, Montagnier, thank you. I know that's a tough one when somebody has a disease, or they come out, or children. But I have seen children that can't walk, can't talk, and all that, when given the right resources and the right movement in the body, and then given the right perception from the parents, I've seen them completely reverse all of their symptoms and be okay in their body.
Yeah.
Children that haven't walked or talked in 12 years, 13 years, all of a sudden speaking.
Because it's like emotions are the driving energy system of our body, but you can't put your finger on, okay, Gary, tell me 3 years ago what emotion you're mostly feeling and where it was and what it was. Like
Yeah.
tell me an emotion you were feeling 3 weeks ago and why it was happening. It's like,
Today I can,
well, because you're why would you
because
say that? Because
I spend most of my time in observation. But if I'm in it, emotions, energy in motion. And since we are that electricity, the energy in motion is what the body is. But it's energy in motion. In other words, my body doesn't move. I may have a thought like I want to go do something, but until I have the emotion, which is the desire to do it, I don't do it. Emotion is what creates motion. emotion precedes motion 100% of the time. The more emotion, the stronger the emotion. Like if I'm super excited or super angry, I'm going to move harder and faster than if I'm a little bit.
It's so you just that just plugged into like it made me remember like this is why this is why calm people are not like reactive, because if you're calm you're in observation. If you're in observation you're able to regulate your emotional states and your emotional feelings. If you can regulate that you can respond accordingly, versus if you're very tense or emotional, you feel like you have to react to protect yourself, to leave the situation, to validate, to all of these things because you're in I have to, I know I need to, like this. Wow, that
So what
was
about when your perception is tied to an emotion? Like I'm in fear constantly. So if I'm in fear, I don't see that the person that's there is there to help me. I can't notice it because I'm in fear. I don't notice it. I just fear. I'm like, oh, but how about people going when they want to be peace, love, light? But I'm in love. Well, if I'm in love, I don't even see that it's too much in love. I don't even see that the person's there going to hurt me. So when we are present, we are in observation. But when we are in love or in fear, we are not present.
because it's still an emotional driving you, and it's driving you, not you're in observation of the love, or you're not in observation of the fear, the all the yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
think of it this way. Think of an emotion being a raging mountain river, like a waterfall. And
Yeah.
it's like you stand by the side of it and you're in awe of how beautiful this emotion is that's flowing out through the earth, the waterfall. But if you're in it,
It's
you're getting tossed around and ripped up and it doesn't feel so nice. So the even my feeling of emotion, if I'm in it, I'm not present and I'm getting ripped up and my head's being bashed and I'm getting tossed all over the place.
So what would you recommend for somebody that, because let's say I have a suppressed emotion. So not only do I have emotions that I haven't allowed myself to feel and to let go of, but I also don't know how to feel without being in it. Because like
That's
example, if I don't
that's what the perception. That's the storyline. It's like
mm,
that's because our perception and our emotions have
of
become like our narrative becomes our story. If I can't observe my narrative, like if I feel anger, it's you're the reason I feel anger. You're the narcissist. You're the problem. You. But you can't have a narcissist in your life if they're there to show you that you are the narcissist.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't have a narcissist in your life without you being one yourself.
yeah,
It's that's consciously impossible.
yeah. So it's almost like recognizing the divine reflection of everything is also part of you, and how does that relate to your own perception of it?
Well, if I am responsible, like if I love this when somebody says to me, I have this guy and I got ripped off over here, so I went over here. I'm really watching this one. I'm making sure I don't get ripped off over here and making sure I don't get ripped off. It's a repeating story. At some point, people go, well, or this person hurt me, this person hurt me, this person hurt me. I got to set my boundaries. So you set your boundary. Okay, great. So that person doesn't hurt you again, but it comes up over there. Okay, you set another boundary. Okay, that person then, tries to hurt you, you set a boundary, it's clear, then it comes up over there, you set another boundary. So when do you stop setting boundaries and realize that the
It's you.
boundaries is the first step? But when do you realize that the reason they keep doing it is because there's something in you that's allowing it to happen?
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
I have to set a boundary over and over and over again, it's because I'm still drawing this. And one of the ways it showed up for me was in media. I would get all of these like negative comments about what we were doing and about our belief system and stuff like this a couple of
yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
Like people ripping me
yeah.
apart, physical therapists, doctors, stuff like that. And then and I would sit in there and I work to integrate that feeling, like why is it happening, and try to rationalize with it and all this. And then I'm like, I try to too much. I can't externally fix it with anybody. So then I started to go, okay, why am I drawing that? What is it in me that still draws that out of them? Now I'm in charge of me because I can only be in charge of me. And then I can do things. And then I know that I'm clearing it up because I stopped getting it. The world stops reflecting that to me.
So how not even how, but what is the first step to take responsibility in that? You know what I mean? Because it's essentially you took the responsibility, and that might be scary to own or to feel like I need to take accountability for why this is coming into my life.
Recognize that it's a pattern. It happens. So first thing is you recognize it's a pattern. It's happened in other areas of your life. Like if someone's busting your boundaries, it's not the only place. And recognize that if you get it externally, you're doing it to yourself internally somewhere. So how am I not respecting my own boundaries?
Mm.
And then the third part is is to remove the blaming of other people, of outside circumstances for why I have that feeling. Because if I'm saying it's because of that person or this thing, I'm not even close to resolving it, and it's going to keep coming until I change it. And then from there, recognize that the world has patterns. Then from there, recognize that I have patterns within the world. Then from there, it's to, after I observe my patterns, is when the pattern comes up, is to audit the pattern and change the pattern. So if all of a sudden it comes up and every time I'm on this call with you, I feel angry, I can observe it and go, why do I feel angry? Is that our internet went off? Is that?
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
So
I can hear you. Can you?
Yep. So what happened is the pattern. What I can see, you're just talking about patterns. My pattern is my phone dies, so I'm not charging my phone up. So I need to make sure I'm charging myself up so I can charge my device because it's been dying consistently every time I'm on the phone with somebody, like more than one time. So that's my pattern. That clearly is very loud now.
So the question is why?
Why? Because it takes a little bit of time before. It's like the prep work. It's the plan before. Like you can't use something if you don't make sure it's plugged in. But
People are still saying I'm here. I'm gonna.
It's getting a little better. It's getting better.
Is it getting better?
now you're good.
It's better.
Yep, it's good now.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys, for hanging in there.
Yeah, so that's my pattern. I gotta make sure I'm plugged in to myself and to the deepest parts
Yeah.
of myself.
Yeah.
The
So
same way
there's a deeper message because it happens. It's affecting your communication.
Mm, wow. I'm gonna sit with that one.
It's so you're a 0 degree. So
Yeah.
it's probably right when you're going to get the epiphany. It shuts off every time. I'm willing to bet. Like right when the best part of the conversation is when it goes off. Is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could go really deep. You can say, especially at your age, it's like there's part of the lesson I'm still learning.
Yeah. Wow. I gotta get plugged. I gotta make sure I plug into myself and to the deepest parts of my existence to continue for it to move forward. Because otherwise, if it doesn't, you're only gonna go so far, and then it's dead. Now oh, what do I do now? Oh, wait.
Yeah, and as much as you make sense of that experience right now, I'm just moving my neck, the fascia, by the way. I'm having a massive shift in the last couple of days. So it's like I got to move it almost. It's like things are like involuntarily moving. So part of it is that the reason why you connect with why a pattern happens, you'll get aha, but then you'll get another aha and another one and another one. Like you'll have ahas and you go, oh, there's a deeper meaning and a deeper meaning. And that's how you know you're at the core of something is when those ahas come in depth.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be consciously observing this pattern now, or more and more and more, because it's, it's funny because me and my friend joke about it, like, oh, your phone died again. Oh, here we go. Oh, like, and now, like, this is the first time it's ever happened in this magnitude. But you were speaking about patterns of the world, patterns of yourself,
So
patterns
the
of yourself in the
reason why
world.
your phone died, okay, because you're 0 degree, is you brought the truth to you. So it happened. You're right, because you're
Mm,
on live with me.
I
That's the time that you would have
practice
known it.
it. Yeah, I
So
had
we're
to.
talking about patterns. The pattern comes up.
Yeah,
So that's a bigger one. So now this is the way I do it. And then I go, okay, clue, universe, thank you. Thank you for the clue because it happened at a big time, which most people are like, oh, damn it, it happened right then. I'm so stupid. I keep doing this. And it's like, no, that's clue time, not beat yourself up time. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
why is it happening?
yeah. No, this is really good. This is cream of the crop. It's on top. Wow.
Your opponent didn't know it.
Didn't even know. Could write it. Didn't even try.
Okay, so let's take this conversation and move it
All right.
into that breath part.
All right. Let's do it. So, first thing, because clearly what I observed during this talk is observation, exhalation. So those are the two focuses that we're going to do. Is how
Okay.
can we observe ourselves and focus on our exhalation as we continue to observe. So the first one is just put your hands right here, like almost on like your pec muscles. Yep. So right here, and stand up as tall as you can. Every breath, exhale, try to drop your shoulders, stand up a little bit taller. So we'll do 8 of them. Every exhale, observe yourself, observe your breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale out your mouth. In 3, 2, 1. Exhale, let those shoulders drop. Every breath, just observe. Stand up taller. Drop those shoulders. Drop those shoulders. Last 2. Best one. And exhale. And just observe. Move your body a little bit. See how you feel.
Got cracks all the way down to my ankle, little tiny ones,
Yeah.
micro cracks.
When you say cracks, like your body, what would you describe that as? Like what, based on what your theories, your beliefs, you know what I mean?
Well, it's really simple. Bones, if you put them in a fluid and you go like this, they don't make a popping sound. So it can't be your bones, and your bones don't touch. So if they touch, you're in pain. So the cracking is the layers of fascia will
Opening.
hit that. That's what an adjustment is, by the way.
Okay. Okay. That's okay.
So I'm getting
Cool.
a pop in my ankle, little tiny one, little slight.
Yeah. Cool. So next one, I want you to pretend like you're driving a car. 10 and 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, reach out a little bit. Exhale, you're going to just make it meet at the bottom of the circle. So it's almost like you're doing a steering wheel. So
Okay.
you're inhaling here, exhaling here.
Okay.
We'll do 6 of them. So inhale, reach out a little further. Exhale, bring it together on the bottom. Inhale, bring it back 10 and 2. Exhale, drop it down together. Continue to stand up taller, reach out. Exhale it down. 3 more. Exhale it. Down. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. Last one. Exhale it down. And just observe your body, move it around a little bit. Notice any distinct differences from our first breath to this last breath.
Clear my head. More room in my neck.
Cool. So we'll do 3 more. First one, we're going to have our hands on our hips, and this is going to be all observation. So all we're trying to do is exhale our air like a waterfall. Through that release, feel your body every breath. If it's lighter, feels looser, if you feel signals, electricity, whatever it is, just observe, and every time just focus on your exhale. Standing up tall, pretending you're watching yourself. We'll do that 7 times. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale. Each and every breath, make it a little bit easier for yourself. Exhale. Exhale. Each breath, make it easier, easier. Last 2, really observe yourself. Last 1. And just stand, observe, feel. Whenever you're ready, move your shoulders, move your neck, move your toes.
Very peaceful. I felt a lot of action in my stomach, right through here.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That one for me, I felt like it was just like the ocean, just like so calming. Like I just noticed after like the second
Yeah.
one, it was like being so present is such a like it's not. It doesn't. What did it require? Just focusing on just peaceful, easeful, standing, observation.
Yeah.
So
And that's the interesting thing is that we're supposed to be like this all of the time. Our normal breath is supposed to be. We're not supposed to have to do breath work to feel this way.
yeah.
But because we are dysfunctional, it creates
Mm,
capacity. Breath work, it's not supposed to be work, it's just supposed to be breath. And what you're doing is leading people through breath work so that they can learn to just breathe.
yeah, that's it. That's it. All right, let's finish off with 2 more real quick ones. So the first one is going to be basically an extension off of that. Now we're going to pull it up, roll our shoulders, exhale, observe our breath. So the same waterfall effect. As you exhale, really allow your body to like let it go, like it's washing down. So we'll do 6 of those. Then we'll do hands by our side, stand up tall, inhale, look up, exhale, look down, and then that'll be all. So each one, we're rolling those shoulders, exhaling, letting go. Just continue to observe. Every exhale. Three more. Now, as you look up, exhale that air. So inhale, Exhale, blow it all the way up. Exhale, look up. One more. Exhale, observe, look up. Exhale, look up. Last one. Look all the way up. Exhale that air. Wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. Just observe, see how you feel. Wow.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
really. So, how would you describe what just happened? Like, if you did it, just if somebody said, describe your experience or describe your awareness or your observation.
Um, so I had a contraction up through my neck and my shoulders, my head,
Mhm.
as I brought the air in. As I dropped, I could feel the lungs. I could feel the energy building, the core energy of the body, not the adrenaline energy. And as that core energy built, my stress went down, my awareness went up, got quiet.
And hormonally, what would you say what is that process?
Oxytocin, serotonin. Yeah. So because oxytocin, serotonin are quiet, they see more opportunities. It's like when you have MDMA. It's like, whoa, you notice everything. It feels good. You're not reactive. Um, but once you fire stress, it takes all that and it goes right down to narrow and focus. I
Mm,
mean, they both have their place,
yeah,
but
yeah. Because what I'm realizing is like I know the feeling of it, I know the observation of it, but now articulate that once again the pattern. It's hard to communicate something if you don't. It's not understanding, but it's you,
it's a building of tension in the body
yeah.
using hormonal energy to relaxing and releasing, which creates fascial or electric energy, engages our electron. So it's like gasoline electric engine or diesel electric. So there's big dump trucks that have a little diesel engine that runs, a small one, and that diesel engine is powering the electricity of the big dump truck. And that's what we have is diesel electric. So we fire our engines with the adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol contraction, which is fires the stress hormones, and then by dropping it, letting the air, the chest, the ribs touch the sternum, spark comes up. That spark releases, increases because of the CO2 goes up. So that means as our CO2 goes up, our stress hormones go down, and then we get more oxytocin, serotonin.
Yeah. And that just made me think of I don't know who I heard it from or where I heard it, but the body communicates with itself when it's exhaling or it has no air. So it's either
Yeah, because when you blow it out, the Bohr effect. So here, do this with me. Breathe in, hold it, breathe in, stack it, hold it, breathe in more, breathe into your nose a bit, hold it more, and hold that. Hold the air in. Keep holding as long as you can. Now exhale. Take a small breath. exhale everything out of your body. Keep exhaling. Cough. Hold your breath. Exhale. Hold it. Breathe in. So when you exhale your air, all the circuits fire. So when you're in stress, your body doesn't communicate. When you let go of the stress, the fascia, then all the electricity goes through. So it's basically stress, communicate. Stress, communicate. And this is why when people lower their breath rate, like when you're breathing 14, 15, 16, 18 breaths per minute, you're going, so you're never out of stress. So your body's not communicating. So you have more chronic pain, you have more chronic disease, you don't sleep well, you don't think well, you have more anxiety, depression, anger, fear, doubt. Once the breath calms down and you get under 10 breaths per minute, you get 8, 6, or 5, or 4, or 3, where I sit normally is about 2.5 to 3 if I'm resting, then I don't have that stress very often. I only got it 3 times in a minute. Whereas most people have it 16
They're
times.
living in it, it's being reinforced over and over and over again because the breath rate is so short and it's not able to actually, yeah.
So when you
It
blow all your air out, it creates a Bohr effect. You can look at Botego breathing.
Yeah.
Chris Botego, a Russian scientist, is the one that studied this. And as you blow all the air out, keep blowing, the longer you hold that, and the more times you do that, it then allows the tissue, when you breathe, to hold more oxygen.
Yeah. It's like you're squeezing everything out, and then now when you finally do, it can actually expand more
So if you want to take that to a whole new level,
Yeah.
get into a pool or water or ocean or whatever, swim underneath about 6 feet or 10 feet and keep blowing all the air out, even when you're done blowing, and then move your body and keep blowing. Move your body, keep blowing. You're going to feel like if you don't breathe, you're going to die. And then you come up, you take that first breath, and then it'll feel like you ran a marathon, especially through these areas and through your legs. That's because you squeezed all of the air out of your tissue because the compression of the water squeezes your tissue and you're using it. So it's like trying to get the blood flow all the way to the lungs for more air.
Yeah.
Then if nothing is left and you breathe, it goes, and then your body goes like contrast. All your tissue gets it. So it feels like you ran a marathon. You go, whoa, why am I so short? Then your brain gets really calm. By the way, that's what I use to do this. I use that to get the oxygen in those areas of the fascial tissue that little creepy area is there. So basically, I push oxygen into these areas. So I'm pushing oxygen into my fascia so I can feed my fascials, not my muscles, my fascials.
Your fascia muscles.
Yeah, so I discovered them. I get to name them. They called it supraspinatus posterior superior.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
quadrus.
yeah.
So anyways, I get to name them. They named them stupid names. I'm going to name mine really simple names. These are
Yeah.
fascials.
How you spell that?
Like fascia with a U, F-U.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we're saying F-U to all the muscle guys. So it's like fascia, and then it's like fascia with an F-U. Fascia. Yeah.
How crazy is it knowing like the journey of bodybuilding led you to this moment?
Say that again.
You gotta go. I said, how does it feel knowing that the bodybuilding, like your old self, like your past life, led you to all of this awareness and all of this, like, road, like, you know what I mean? Like it's one road, but now you're using at one point you were a muscle guy to now you're a fashion guy.
This is why I'm going to do that 12-month series once a month, because I want people to go from the journey that I did.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy, listen, I
See ya.
gotta go. I actually got another guest. We've been 20 minutes over, but it was such a great conversation.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Till
you.
next time.
Too.
Peace.
Okay, thank you.